What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. It has been one hell of a run for GameStop stock. I was an early investor in this company back in 2020, before the pandemic hit, and it was about what, $4 a share, $5 a share, something like that, back when I was starting to invest in it. And it looked like doomsday. It looked like bankruptcy was in the future, that the Blockbuster 2.0 situation was coming to fruition and would be realized in full. I just watched a video by my buddy Rich from Review Tech USA who gave the bear case scenario, one that we are all very, very familiar with, especially those of us who have followed the stock for a long time and have seen some serious ups and downs with it.
Will GameStop now be a permanent fixture in our lives? No. You can't save an antiquated business model.
But what has just come to light could be a complete game changer for GameStop. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe and bell for notifications, and let's just get right into it. I watched a video from Rich Review Tech the other day that basically trashed GameStop, that said it's not coming back, it's done, they're Blockbuster 2.0, and this whole Ryan Cohen thing joining the board is just kicking that can down the road of an inevitable bankruptcy. Yeah, I get it. I've heard it a million times. It doesn't even faze me at this point. But here is what Rich didn't take into account. Changing. He's assuming that they're staying the course. He's assuming that what has failed in the past is going to stay the course and continue failing. That Ryan Cohen is going to come in and just sit on his hands while the company just deteriorates. That's not going to happen. That's why investors are so excited about the prospect of the future for GameStop for the first time in a very, very, very long time. I'm talking like, what, 7 or 8 years ago, back in their peaks in the $80s and $90 a share range. It's very different now. As far as the past couple of weeks, the stock has been skyrocketing, causing everyone to wonder what the hell is going on with GameStop. Is it just this Ryan Cohen news? Is it just a short squeeze? It's not, by the way, yet. But what could it be that's making this stock rise? Is it Wall Street bets just getting on board the rocket ships and everyone just piling in? I mean, maybe that's a little bit of it too, but I'd like to think there's a lot more to the story that isn't being talked about. That is what Ryan Cohen could potentially do to change the business. Now, I've been doing plenty of due diligence on this, but please take this video with a grain of salt. I am the furthest thing from a financial advisor that you could find on the internet. I'm a dude that likes video games. It has fun throwing money away and burning it and lighting on fire in investments sometimes. And who knows? I mean, sometimes it works out, like with GameStop. But what I wanted to say here is some things that I'm realizing doing a little bit more research that's far more than surface level. This isn't meant to be a shot at Rich saying it's Blockbuster 2.0. It's more of a, let's realize everybody who's a bear crapping on the GameStop scenario here, that there's a lot more to the story. Let's dig a lot deeper here. What's changing? I was on Wall Street Bets, and Ethan David just posted 4 hours ago that, TLDR, GameStop is fielding PC build kiosks at a number of stores. Buy GME shares, rockets outbound, and then about 48 rockets emojis posted. What he means by this here, let me go into a little bit more detail, is GameStop is right now testing out the idea of making their stores, or at least some of their stores, stations to create, build your own PCs, put the parts together, order it, have a professional assist you putting it together. This is a big deal. I don't want people to just shrug this off like, what? Who would ever use? Think about it. For me personally, I bought a very big, high-powered PC that I am loving, like 5 years ago, I think. It was a while ago, 4 years ago. And I put about $1,400 in it. I got the NVIDIA 980 Ti graphics card, 32 gigs of RAM. like 8 USB ports, 4 2.0 ports at the time. It was rocking at the time. But to be honest, when I built it via the HP website, I had no idea what the hell I was doing, and I did a crap ton of research on finding out what even a 980 Ti graphics card even is, what the difference is between that and a Titan, and I haven't kept up with it personally. I have no idea what's even out now that's better than it. I'm sure plenty of people do. But there's AMD competing parts with it. AMD's come a very long way as well, the graphics cards. And what NVIDIA and their competition is, not to mention the Intel processors and all these other things that back in the day, 5 years ago, I put days of research into before clicking buttons and knobs to get a PC put together and hoping that I wasn't getting ripped off by HP.com because it's a known name. What GameStop is trying to do here is create a, if this does come to fruition, by the way, because this is just a test theory, hypothetical, take it with a grain of salt, internet post, but if they were to do this, Joe Person could go into a GameStop who has no idea what a PC is or how to build it, but says, I want to get into PC gaming. I want to play Steam games. I want to be able to take part in this master race revolution, if you will. Where do I start? GameStop. And the associate will say, okay, I can help you with that. Come on over here to this Microsoft Surface kiosk, because they signed a deal with Microsoft to get those Surfaces in the stores. I haven't seen them yet, but they are coming. I covered that in a previous video as well. They click on this Microsoft Surface, they go through and they pick the parts. I don't know what I'm doing. I can help you. I'm an associate. I've been trained fully on what PCs are, what they have to offer, what the best parts are for your purposes. What are you looking to do? What types of games do you want to play? What kind of programs do you want to run on your computer? How much RAM are you going to need based off of all of that? What kind of graphics card, processor, CPU, GPU, all these things. How many USB ports you're going to want? What this computer is going to look like in full. Do you want lights in it? Do you want fans on it? What is it going to be, liquid cooling? There's so many questions that somebody who is a console gamer that wants to get into the PC market has no idea how to answer. And if you're listening to me right now and you're like, well, I know the answer to all this stuff, you are not the target audience about what I'm talking about. But for the people out there that are like, yeah, I kind of want to get into PC gaming and I don't really know where to start, this is a prime opportunity. I believe there are micro centers across the country. I don't know. I haven't seen them. And that's the thing. Like, GameStop is everywhere. Even though they've closed a crap ton of stores, they're still everywhere. There's a GameStop typically within driving distance of the vast majority of the U.S. population. With that being the case, if you need a PC, you could go to this GameStop, speak to the associate, go through all these tabs, have them walk you through what part does what the prices are, what the differences are, what everything's going to cost when you build it and put it together. Even have some set up there in the store to test out and have some games to test on it to see how they run and if you need to upgrade or not and all these other settings. Having a hands-on experience in the stores as a showroom. And then, instead of what people used to do, just go to Amazon and buy it, they'd already have filled out all the answers on the questionnaire. They just send it to GameStop.com and buy it. And then a week later, it's shipped to you, or 2 weeks, or however long it takes to build it. It gets shipped to your house. That's pretty game-changing. Like, that's fascinating. Am I crazy here? Like, I read this and I'm like, oh my God, that's genius. Nobody else is doing that. I mean, like I said, there are mom and pop places that do it, but as far as a reasonable expectation for knowing you're not getting ripped off, knowing that there's a place close to you that can do this, and having all these PC parts, the mouses, the keyboards, the headsets, the microphones, the webcams, getting all of that together, the hardware, the software, the inner workings of the computer put together, it's a fascinating proposition. And this is just one thing that they are considering rolling out. So when I watch a video from Rich that says they're Blockbuster 2.0, they're dying, there's nothing they're doing that's going to change anything that's different, this is just kicking the can down the road because Ryan Cohen came from Chewy and he's a big name and whatever, it's not going to change anything. It is. Imagine if Jeff Bezos went to GameStop. Just imagine what people would say about that, because he's a very well-known person that was able to transform online e-commerce. Ryan Cohen did the same damn thing. In fact, Ryan Cohen, some could argue, is better than Jeff Bezos because he beat him at his own game. Chewy.com sells dog food, dog parts, dog toys, dog everything. So does Amazon. But people go to Chewy because of the personalized experience with the customer service matching it. And it's such a better experience overall for the end user. So people who are not in the know with that would hear this whole GameStop thing and say, why would anyone want to invest in GameStop? That company's dying. This is just a short squeeze, and everyone who's investing in it's about to get crushed. The stock's just going to crash after this. I don't think it is. It might. I'm definitely not a financial advisor, and I have no clue what the hell it's going to do. But it's worked so far for me because I expect them to change. I expect them to try different things to find out what works in an ever-changing world, in a marketplace that seems to change not on a daily basis, but on like an hourly basis. I expect them to be able to adapt. And now that Ryan Cohen is there with two of his former associates at Chewy, it is a game changer. This is just one idea. I could make a video on every single theory and idea of what they could do. I could talk about how GameStop could potentially sign licensing deals with game companies, get the digital games, and be able to create an online marketplace for buying and selling licenses of digital downloads. If they get with Sony, they've already got with Microsoft. Who's to say they can't take it a step further? Like, that's another idea that I could create an entirely new video on, because that is a tangible thing that could change. Any bear case against GameStop is the same story. It just assumes that they don't change, that they don't do anything different. And while we're sitting here, we're seeing it unfold. We're seeing the story change. And yet these bears are so caught up in their own lies and misconceptions and their own world of what GameStop used to be, that they're just locked in on this is all GameStop is and it's all they'll ever be. I would argue that is the wrong approach with all of this. Anyways, those are my thoughts. This is why I feel like this is game-changing for GameStop. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. Part of the reason I make these videos is because I love the communication. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Plenty of people crapped on me when I made that video saying I'm investing in GameStop in 2020. Those people still feel like GameStop will fail, for the most part. Most people aren't changing their opinion that have hated on it initially. But first, I mean, they come at you, they hate you, and then they start to agree with you. I don't know what the exact quote is, but ultimately what I'm trying to say is people will change their mind once Ryan Cohen and company show them the way. And when they do, all these bears, all these haters will come around and say, yeah, I mean, I guess I could see it now that they're doing these things right, but they never were before. That's kind of the point. You don't invest in a failing company that isn't changing. You invest in I'd like to say, a value proposition that shows potential, has sales, and looks like there's a future. And with the catalyst of the next generation consoles still in incredible demand, you cannot keep these things in stock for the life of you. PS5, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S. Not to mention, yes, a Switch Pro is coming. I am pretty much sure of it. I mean, I'm as close to 100% in 2021 that it will be coming than I've ever been before. And if that happens, it's just a catalyst after a catalyst after a catalyst to keep people coming into the GameStop stores and allowing them the time to create something that makes money for the long run. And I think this whole PC building station is a step in that direction. I'm going to leave the video right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, you stay smashing.
Smash,